If manga and anime were a plant, the pot would be the plot, the stalk would be the talk, and the leaves would be the character design. In combination with the art style, these two things are what give people their first impression, and first impressions are pretty important. It's what's gonna make you want to binge a show or throw up. In the case of the former, it has even the power to brainwash its audience to continue all the way through a long, repetitive, boring story because I like the way the characters look, and anime is art. Cool character designs are bait. Yeah, I've been caught before by this, and even this. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this show. Look at how fun the characters look. Of course, this can also work in the opposite of ways, where a fantastic series is otherwise overlooked because the characters don't have bright neon spiky hair or interesting school uniforms, but it does have a stellar plot and amazing writing. It's how you end up with this happening. And yeah, Ping Pong's animation style is janky and it might be turning a lot of people off in that way, but you get my point. And at the peak of this spectrum I've created are series that excel in both story and character design. Full Metal Alchemist, Berserk, Shingeki no Kyojin. Oh, sorry, hold on. Attack on Titan. No, not you. These series are at the top because all of their elements are performing at their peak. They don't just invest all their skill points into one ability and then fail to follow through with what's been promised. They invest all their skill points into everything, giving an all-around even spread. And then they farm in the most optimized route countless times until they've maxed out on their stats and can just... What am I getting at with all this? Well, I'm trying to talk about a series that was absolutely ruined for me because of the character design. Don't worry, it's not you. I love you despite your flaws. I'll never let anything come between us. It's a series that I only really see talked about in good terms, so I might be stepping on a few toes here when I say that this series is... all right. So, today, what I'm going to be talking about is... suspense. Suspense, gonna build up the suspense. Gonna build the suspense so you don't know it hits you with the surprise because it's suspenseful. What I'm talking about today is Claymore, another series that is out of relevance and won't help my channel grow. Damn it! What is Claymore? Good question. It's not the one you're thinking about. It's a series about skilled and genetically mutated demon hunters. No, not you! That hunt down demons in a medieval world. Even for being a manga, something I generally praise for being unique, Claymore's setting is very distinct amongst others. Medieval fantasy series, not isekai, are pretty uncommon to see in manga and anime, and straight up medieval is even more uncommon. Claymore lands in the middle of these distinctions, as the fantasy element, demons, is subdued and essentially folklore amongst the world's residents. It doesn't build its world around many large fantasy tropes, it just runs with one idea and builds upon it, which I can really appreciate. I have a fondness for series that focus on one, let's call it, superpower. Seeing the development of a power and the creative ways it can be used when a story's limitations are imposed is simple, pure ecstasy. And let me just break it down for you right now. Luffy's Gum Gum Fruit doesn't count. Yes, it is one power, rubber, throughout the whole series, but it was never established that he can go to Gear 4 early on. What I'm talking about is having one power and one power only, no upgrades later on, and they use that power in creative ways. And I'm going to talk about one of my favorite examples of this in the future. But for now, because I know all of you degenerates have seen it, think about My Hero Academia for just one moment here. This is what I'm talking about. This is amazing. I remember first reading this part and having my mind blown. Yeah, he punched really hard in other episodes, but in a situation where he was unable to use his powers to its full extent, and he had already flicked all his fingers, which was a previously established tactic, he uses his thumb and his cheek to shoot another blast. It's unexpected and a perfect example of how far you can take ideas if you just focus on one. It's a shame now that Deku has pretty much unlimited power and can just hit his enemies hard and harder nowadays, because Kohei obviously has the creative mind and talent for genius story moments like this. But at the same time, he made Deku's special attack a kick. That's it. he kicks. Anyways, Claymore begins strong with its lack of superpowers. We get to see how the demons work in all kinds of situations. Not like Demon Slayer where each demon has a special attack or an element that they use, none of that. Every demon in Claymore has only 2 abilities, shapeshift, super bodies. That's it. And yet, there are so many different ways a demon can use these to feast on humans. Yeah, you've got some who just brute force their way around, but there are other also tactical ones that think outside of the box and blend in well with society. So, after a story arc about a demon hiding itself in a small town by impersonating the brother of a young boy who, by the way, felt his brother was still his brother, we learn a few things. 1. The demon can impersonate people perfectly. Even those closest to the people the demon is impersonating can't tell the difference. And 2. The demons are crafty and can't be spotted by normal humans. The rules are set and they seem pretty simple. So how is it that this story is going to surprise us? It's most likely always going to be the most sus or prominent character in the arc. And, you know, they can't just pull some random person out of the woodwork and claim, "We found the demon! It was this background character with no lines!" No way! Because that would just be anticlimactic and boring. So, when the next big arc rolls around, we're prepared for more of the same, because that's all we've really seen so far. Claire, the main character, is called upon by a cathedral to investigate demon killings. There are guards surrounding the cathedral, and yet killings within persist. So it's gotta be one of the guards or priests within the cathedral at night. After a lengthy setup, some red herrings, and a failed encounter with the demon, we finally learned that the demon was not impersonating any of the priests or anyone living in the cathedral, but in fact, was disguising itself the whole time, under everyone's noses, as a bedside table. Joking. It was actually disguised as one of the corpses in the crypts. The story took the rules and expectations that it laid out in front of us and expanded on these ideas, leading to some really clever out-of-the-box thinking. We were never told explicitly, yeah, a demon can or cannot become a dead person, but within the parameters that the rules set, it's totally possible. It was a pretty awesome moment. So then, if I've spent the last few minutes praising the series, why did I initially say it was just, Alright, well, let's get to the meat of this video. I believe Claymore shot itself in the foot with its world rules and sacrificed character design in the process. Let me explain why. Being a Claymore means, 1, your hair turns white. 2, you must always wear the same uniform as everyone else. And 3, most of the time, you end up not having many emotions left after the procedure, i.e., lack of personality. This becomes a huge problem when every single one of the main characters are Claymores, and as the story keeps adding more and more Claymores to the main plot, it becomes increasingly harder and harder to follow who's who, who's where, and which side they're fighting for. Yeah, call me a peewee brain all you want. You're absolutely right.
My small cave brain don't work so good.
I can't keep up with anything in the later half of the story.
Jesus Christ.
I'm also known in real life to have bad memory. It's why I don't read series weekly and tend to binge them once they're over or far, far ahead, so that's probably an issue as well. I've grown a lot from the time I was reading Claymore. It's been at least over 2 years and my reading habits have changed. Back then, I really only binge read a few series, and for a reason, they're all the way up here. I rarely even read volumes back to back the same day. At most, if lucky, I'd read about a volume of manga a night. So, a casual like me back then wasn't able to keep up. Characters that I think have died turn out to be someone else entirely, and I just ended up getting everyone mixed up. The worst part is that characters come back from the dead sometimes in this series, and that just screws my mind over. I'm already confused and you're bringing back characters that I don't remember? Oh, god damn it. The only thing separating characters ends up being their minute personality differences and their hair. It's kinda hard for me to feel for a character when I know them as long hair girl. My suspension of disbelief is also shattered by the fact that not even 2 of the Claymores share a hairstyle. What I'm supposed to be seeing is a group of characters. What I'm instead seeing is a hair selection screen for a role-playing game. These women are supposed to be trained killers, not even. Their one and only desire is to kill all demons. So how is it then that Barbie over here wakes up every morning with the desire to have the hottest hair in town? Look, you can totally have rad, luscious locks even if you are dedicating your life to a goal. But in Claymore, my suspension of disbelief is broken. I don't believe it's in the characters to braid their hair and whatnot before a battle to the death. Keep in mind, we're also talking about medieval times here. Things were dirty back then. And we haven't even reached the peak of my discontentment with this series, as there's an event in the middle that fractures the Claymore's faction, leading to a majority of the cast abandoning their duties as Claymores. Ah, good. They don't all have to wear the same thing anymore. This is perfect. Heck no. They switch it up and instead all wear the same uniform in black. Come on! In addition to this, because they abandoned their faction, new characters from the faction are introduced with the same white hair, and they are all in the same uniform and the same personality. Ah! Damage. Control. Damage. Control. So, I realized I probably ruffled some feathers. There are some dedicated fans of this series, and for good reason. This story stands out against others, and I can easily understand how one might claim it to be a masterpiece to them. At the end of the day, the only reason I wasn't able to enjoy this series as much as others is my own personal habits and problems. Thinking about it all again though, I am interested in another read of this series. There are great moments everywhere throughout the story. I don't know who they were happening to. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I feel Claymore is a good story, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to people. If I do give this series another go in the future, I'd reckon I'd enjoy it, and there would still be plenty of content that I've never read. Yeah, I dropped it. I had better things to do with my time.